Hello and welcome from the movie Hocus Pocus Tricks and Wits card game. Tricks and Wits, people. Tricks and Wits. Wits. That's something else. But let's get into the review. We'll just kind of show off the box. Big fan of it, even though I haven't, never really saw the movie until last year. And it was pretty, very good movie. Don't know why I never wanted to see it as a kid, but good movie, love it. Saw it in theaters. We'll do a review of that because it's pretty neat seeing it in theaters. So, to celebrate its anniversary year for 30 years, we'll be showing off this game, another game, and the movie review. So, stay tuned for all that. But let's get into the sisters here. Sanderson sisters. We'll get into it.
It's just a bunch of hocus pocus!
I'm just showing off the inside of the box here. Looks very neat. There's the instructions. Kind of get that kind of art style there. Show you the setup, and we'll be doing that. And, of course, these little reference cards, which are always nice to have for shadow actions and die reference. It's a 2 to 4 player game, and you'll either be playing as the kids or the witches. 18 cards each. There's the die. We're familiar with this. There's a lot of these little box games from Funko that had these little dies that are just like this. We were kind of worried it was going to be the pumpkin thing from Boo Hollow again, or for Christmas coming up, the elf one where you're just throwing balls at each other, or pumpkins. But no, this one has a lot of neat... I like the purple, the sparkliness. The sparkliness is really showing up pretty nicely on there. And, you know, you roll, and you see what it does. And you follow where to go. There are 6 cards that'll make up the black flame candle. Pretty neat. And then there's the Hocus Pocus cards, which we'll get into in a second too. That's basically the whole little game in this little box. Oh yeah, and these 4 tokens, which, I know in our experience we hardly ever got to use them. But they're there, and useful, I guess. The Hocus Pocus cards are matches, so it'll be a matching pair of brooms, vacuums, and other brooms. I guess technically they're all brooms, in a sense. It's a trick if you get these. If an opponent swaps or pushes this card from your stash, you may roll the die after. So there's trick cards, so if something were to happen. And these are the main focus. By the end of the game, whoever has this, the book, if you end the game with the book, your team wins. Or, if you end the game with both special cards, your teams win. Even if the other team has the book. So you either want to get this or these. So that's the way to win. And these are the cards. They're all going to be shuffled together and form the pile, and you'll be picking up blindly, moving and swapping as the game goes. And we'll talk about that now. This will be your setup and your layout for when you're playing. You'll have your candle like this, and each round will go as the candle will go down to its very last flame. And you shuffle 9 cards in the middle. Players who are the kids get a card for each player, and the witches get a card for each player. The kids will get, you know, the cat character. And, yeah, this is basically the setup to play. You split into 2 teams, kids and witches, as equally as possible. Teammates should sit next to each other. Each team takes their action card, shuffles them, and deals 3 to each player on their team. Place the rest on the face-down desk and reach all teammates. All together, look at the abilities on the Hocus Pocus card, shuffle them, and put them in the center to make the 3x3 grid. That way you get acquainted to them. 2 to 4 players, teams if you can, but if you only have 3 players, you can play them, then we'll go over those again, but this is for 4 players, what we're going to be doing. So how to play the game, as I said, 6 rounds. Each player plays 1 action card face down. All players reveal the card they play at the same time, then take turns dealing what their card says from lowest to highest number. Once all players take their turn, the candle burns down. Move the black flame down to the card below it. All players discard the remaining action cards to a team discard pile and draw 3 new cards from the team's deck. If the deck runs out, shuffle the discard pile to form a new deck. Repeat steps 1 through 4 until the black flame has nowhere to move. The end of round 6, then the game ends. The Hocus Pocus cards in front of you are your stash. You may look at them at any time. When you take a card, add it to your stash face down. Place it on either end of the row. You cannot reorder the cards in your stash unless an action or a die roll lets you shuffle them. You may have a maximum of 3 cards in your stash at any time. Before you take the 4th card, you must first choose a card from your stash to put back in the center. So the game's all about, you're going to probably take something, look at them, put it back, take something from anywhere in the game, other players something, look at them, and remember, you want to get the book or those 2 special cards. You may talk to teammates, but everything they say must be heard by all players. You can tell your teammate what cards you have in your stash, what cards you've seen, although you don't have to tell the truth. You can bluff or talk in code, but be wary the other team is listening. That sounds like a neat thing, but in reality, it doesn't work as well as they would like it to work. Tricks. If a trick card from your stash is pushed or swapped by an opponent, reveal the trick. The player taking the turn finishes pushing or swapping the trick as normal, but then, before another action is taken, you roll the die. Matching pairs. If you have a matching pair of Hocus Pocus cards in your stash, reveal them at the end of your turn to roll the die twice, then remove the matching pair from the game. What are the actions and the die rolls? Well, all actions are optional, and each action must be completed before another can be taken. They only affect Hocus Pocus cards, not action cards, unless specifically stated. Mark. Place a token on any card. The next time a witch takes an action, they must choose a marked card for their action, if possible. When a witch does an action to a marked card, the token is removed. Peek. Secretly look at any card, whether it's in the center or in a stash. Push. Slide any card from any player's stash to the center and shuffle it with cards from one row. Reveal. Flip any card face up so all players can see it, then flip it face down again. Shuffle. Shuffle the cards in your stash and replace them face down. Swap. Swap any 2 cards, no matter where they are. You may swap from the center to a stash, between 2 stashes, or even within a single stash. Take. Take any card from the center. You cannot take from a stash. Now, your stash is yours. All players will have their own stash to play with. And when it comes to the special cards, both those special cards need to be, like right here, we'll flip. They need to be in that, like your opponent, your teammate can't have the special card, and you have one to win. You both need to find, by the end of it, need to have that special card, and the one player has to have it together in theirs. As you saw the symbols on the die, we'll go over them. The witch ability gets their own special ability. They roll it. Swap 1, shuffle your stash. If it's kids that rolled this, they took the peek 1 instead. Kid ability, peek at 2, mark any 1, and the mark, again, will be the get, or, Binks. Which is you just peek. So those are your own special abilities, and more often than not, you won't roll those. And when you do, it'll be the one where you just get the peek instead. If someone has the book, if you get that eyeball, they must reveal it, then shuffle their stash. Reveal 1. If it's a trick, remove it from the game. Then there's that one with the broom. Push 1. Just push any card. And then the hand. Choose an action card from your discard pile and do what it says, or re-roll the die. That was a very fun ability. It could have been something that could make or break towards the end, but for the most part, yeah. But that's the dice rolls, and that's what's neat. Sometimes you don't want to do the dice rolls because you're all just too busy trying to memorize and focus and swapping and taking back and forth your cards, but if you want to try to manipulate or stop someone, you take a chance. Either you guarantee something or you take a chance with this, and sometimes it can be good, but there are some times where you really kind of just want to luck out and roll the dice on stuff, but that's what they all do, again, and yeah. And that's what this does. You can roll that. If I were the witches, I'd get that ability, and so on, and so on. And that's it. As the candle goes down turns, you play them, as we said, go around, swap moves, so it's basically a kind of a memory game in a sense, trying to remember what's in the center, who took what on each team, and then manipulate it and trying to swap it, hopefully through the game by going from the order of lowest to highest. That, unfortunately, is the downfall, where we did not really care for the game. We played multiple times with multiple people, and final thing is, it just doesn't work, because in the end, all that really matters is by the end of the game, you will know where the book is and or the 2 special cards are. So basically, by the end of the game, what you really need to do is be the last person to play, and that's what it always came down to. Whoever was on the last round, everyone played their 4 cards, and whoever had the highest number got to do the last thing, and they were able to go, okay, this is the book, or you have this, well, we'll swap this so you don't have the 2 specials, we have the book, there you go. That's basically how it always ends, and that was always the kind of part, and it felt like the witches always had more of an advantage over the kids just based on what were on the cards and how things went in the numbering system. The other downside was the dice. The special things you got for the dice for the kids and the witches, unfortunately, no matter, I mean, they're on there a lot, but you rarely roll the cat or the witches one there. Like, on the kids' turn, you would roll more of the witches thing, which does nothing. Or on the witches, they would roll the cat, which does nothing. You rarely got a chance to do your special die. I feel like, instead of, even though it's on there, a good couple of placements, I feel like leaving it to a die roll, which you rarely got to do those special abilities that only kids can do or only the witches can do, was just, it didn't work. It never worked. You rarely, I think, once out of multiple games, did the witches get to roll the witch die for their effect, and then we got to roll as kids, playing as kids, trying to do that. Didn't rarely work. And that's unfortunate, because I feel like maybe it should have been more of an ability of something you have to do something through the cards or through some other thing instead of a die roll to get that, because we rarely, like, you never got to utilize this to force them to play just the cat one. You rarely got to do that, and they rarely got to do what they could do. It kind of just, So overall, the game was okay. It wasn't that great. It's a neat idea. Was it fun? Not really, because, again, it all comes down to that last round, basically, and that was it. And when it comes to 3 players, they're going to be uneven without a teammate. You can still have the 3 cards in your stash. However, each player on the other team, the team of 2, can only have 2 cards at a time in their stash. And then that's when the shadow action happens. If you don't have a teammate, you may do a shadow action on your turn, as listed on the back of the reference card. What you can do changes each round. You may do it immediately before or after you use the action card. Here's the shadow actions. So each round there's what you can do to kind of help you out. So I don't know, maybe we should try a 3-player game to like this even more. But as a 4-player, as we played it, this was definitely not as fun as we were hoping. Kind of a thumbs down. That's basically what we can say. We gave it like a 2 out of 5. I don't know, maybe a 5 out of 10, but it just wasn't that great of a game. Will the other one be better? Who knows? We'll find out for the next one. Thanks for watching. Let us know what your thoughts on this game is. Like, comment, subscribe. More game funs later, and we'll see you next time. Stay on, my friends.